Good evening. My name is Misha, and I'm an instructor in various different martial arts. Today, however, you're going to be studying something a lot different. In the system that I have created along with my friend, we've decided to go into a different approach for martial arts. Whereas the traditional learning of techniques and stances and forms help produce a strong fighter, we've gone into the reverse and started to focus more on what's built inside to come outside. In a short way, it's a metamorphosis once you've understood it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be training your mind to understand and grasp concepts so that once you're in combat or in battle, your body will correspondingly move according to that understanding. So today I'm going to be going into the topic of the biomechanics of strikes. In normal conventional martial arts, a strike is usually what happens when a person closes their fist or throws their foot in the direction of their opponent in hopes of just hitting them and bringing it back into a defensive stance. So I'm going to make it in a way that you understood in the traditional sense of martial arts. You assume a stance, you put up your offense, which is your hands or your feet, and you get ready, and then you go into your strike. The strike is the movement of the body forward or any direction, as long as it has the intention of planting your hands or your feet in a destructive manner, in a manner that is to harm the opponent. So, an example of this is a jab, this is a hook, that's a far hook. You have knees, you have elbows. So the way you understand it is I'm in my stance, I'm in my form, I bring up my weapons. From my weapons, I use them, and then I put them back, and then I get into my defensive stance. This is a common martial arts understanding. What you just saw me do, that was a boxing movement. There's many different ways to go about it. There's the traditional way. There is this is the traditional Japanese, the Chinese ways. There's many different ways. So these are stances. They're all produced to create a sense of getting you ready to attack in a particular manner. But what we're going to do today is remove all of that so you can finally understand what we can see. Martial artists down the line through a couple of years, or even say tens of years, get to learn one lesson. And that one lesson comes a little too late, when we're a little older and we can't move around anymore as much. And that is, there is no difference to the types of styles you use when you strike. You need to use what is meant to be used. The focus that you must move forward, and you must land your strike onto them, without assuming all the phases, without the stance, without the offensive weapons ready, without the defense getting ready. It comes down to the simple idea of understanding what is movement. So let's take a look at this. This is a very simple, conventional understanding. I'm going to stand sideways this way so you can see my hand. So as you can see, I'm assuming the classic boxing stance, but I'm just going to remove my jabbing hand. I'm going to leave this hand right here. So the way this works, most people think that when you do a strike or a punch, say, there is a loading. Now, I'm not going to talk to you about the musculature or the understanding of muscles and bones. We're talking about biomechanics, so we're not going to be talking about contraction, expansion of muscles. We're going to be talking about loading and unloading of actual forces. So, as you can see, right now I'm cocked in. I'm real tight. I'm in that pose where I'm all loaded like a spring. This is the loading. So I need to unload. If I unload, most people do this mistake when they do a strike. They pull back just a little more. So you can see where my hands are. They pull back just a little more, and then they throw it forward. This is their understanding of a strike, to throw it forward. But this isn't the biomechanic of a real punch. The biomechanic is a lot simpler once you understand it. You lock in, and then it's actually just the uncocking of the elbow and the wrist. So watch carefully. It opens up, and it reaches its goal right there, and it just comes right back. That's the motion you want. This simplistic motion. Now, why does it look like it's different from other punches? Remember, we're studying the simple biomechanics of this thing. So take a look at this. I'm going to aim with the other knuckle. So give me a second. Let me turn so you can see this better. I'm going to aim with the different knuckles on my hand. There's 4 knuckles and a 5th one. So how does this work? I can aim with any knuckle I want as long as I know this motion. I don't necessarily have to keep a similar stance as everybody else. So I'm going to use the lowest. Now I'm going to use the second one, the ring finger. As you can see, my hand is starting to get tighter. I'm going to use the one you're used to seeing, the big knuckle. Then I'm going to use the 4th one. Now you can see my whole hand is stretching right out. Then you'll see a difference when you use the thumb. So you think they all look the same, but they don't. You have to see it in action. And it even looks different once you change the form of the actual weapon. So this is my hands splayed, the fingers out. This is my hands closed, the fist. So take a look at this. I just simply stretch it right up. Now, the punch you're used to seeing looks like this. So how do you get that effect? It's simple. You uncock the elbow, but at the same time, you twist the wrist to have the hand form it this way. So take a look at this. So that's the simple biomechanic of the punch. All I have to do is close my hand, and there are many different ways to punch. So this is just a simple biomechanical understanding of a punch. You just punch, and it's all about the line of attack of where you're going, but that's a different lesson. So we're sticking to the biomechanics. Now notice I'm twisting my wrist right at the end. And you've seen this done many different ways. In boxing, you do get different types of strikes. Example, you see a normal boxer, he puts his hands up around this level. You see a different style of boxing where it's dropped here. It's called a hitman, where the shoulder's up. So you can flick. Then there's the actual just normal boxing this way, with a little bit wide, out boxer, in boxer. So there's many different ways of throwing a punch. Do not think that there is only one. Understand the biomechanic behind it is that it is actually just the uncocking of the elbow and the twisting of the wrist towards the opponent. Everything else is generated from the rest of your body. Your shoulder locking out, your hips turning to face there, and your knees turning to throw you that forward motion. And that's what makes the punch count. So it's not about this pullback. That makes no power at all. People think when you pull back and you throw with power, it's just nothing more than a slight momentum. You pull back, you throw yourself. It's your weight. But trust me when I say this. If you know the biomechanics, all it takes is one of these to stop a guy doing this. Now, when you finally understood this simple understanding, you start to see how striking can change. You've only understood striking from the range that it's empty hand. Striking isn't always empty hand. It's a plastic knife,